All right, so we're diving deep into quantum computing today.
It's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And you guys sent in a ton of sources.
You did, yeah.
TED Talks, research papers, articles.
Yeah, it seems like you really want to get a good grasp on this whole quantum thing.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
It's a hot topic.
It is.
There's so much buzz.
Yeah.
It's easy to kind of get lost in all the hype.
Totally.
So we're here to cut through that and make sure you actually understand what's going on.
Exactly. Help us understand what it is and what it isn't.
Exactly.
So maybe the best place to start is with the most basic question.
Yeah.
What is a quantum computer?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Shohini Ghosh had that really great TED Talk.
I love that TED Talk.
Where she talks about that coin flip game.
Oh, yeah.
Against a quantum computer.
Right.
And I thought that was a really good way to sort of visualize
for sure
what makes them different.
Absolutely.
From a regular computer.
It's a great way to visualize the fact that quantum computing isn't just like a faster computer.
Right.
It's a fundamentally different approach.
Yes.
To processing information.
Completely different.
Yeah, like a classic computer uses bits.
Right.
Which are like light switches. They're either on or off.
On or off.
1 or 0.
Yeah.
Quantum computers use these things called qubits, which can be 1 and 0 at the same time.
Yeah.
This is thanks to this principle of superposition.
Superposition.
Yeah.
All right, so it's almost like they're playing with loaded dice.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, instead of like cheating, they're tapping into the strange rules of quantum mechanics to their advantage.
Yeah, so how does that actually translate into like real-world power?
Well, you can think about it this way.
Okay.
A regular computer is like a solo detective working a case.
Okay.
A quantum computer is like having a whole squad of detectives.
Right.
All exploring different leads at the same time.
Simultaneously.
Exactly. So for certain problems, that parallel processing makes a world of difference.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And, Ghosh in her talk mentioned one area in particular where quantum computing could have a huge impact.
For sure.
Security.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about the potential to crack the encryption.
Absolutely.
That protects, like, everything.
Yeah.
Our banking information, government secrets, everything, right?
Everything, that's right.
Yeah.
So, like, current encryption methods rely on this idea that it's really hard to factor large numbers.
Yeah.
It would take a classical computer an impractical amount of time.
Right.
But a powerful enough quantum computer running something called Shor's algorithm.
Shor's algorithm.
Could crack those codes exponentially faster.
Oh, wow.
So you can imagine what that means.
Yeah.
Everything that we consider secure online could suddenly be vulnerable.
Like a ticking time bomb.
Kind of, yes.
What are we doing to prepare for this?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
It's definitely a race against time.
Right.
There are organizations like NIST that are working on developing something called post-quantum cryptography.
What is that?
So basically that would be a type of encryption that is resistant to attacks from even very powerful quantum computers.
Okay.
In the meantime, we have this threat.
Right.
You mentioned it earlier, store now, decrypt later.
Yeah. It's pretty frightening.
It is, because data that's encrypted today using our current methods could be stored by somebody.
Right.
And then later, when quantum computers are powerful enough, they could decrypt it.
So it's not just about building the quantum computers. It's about understanding what the risks could be.
Absolutely.
Right? And like finding solutions.
Yes, you got it.
Before those risks become reality.
Exactly.
So we talked about security, but Ghosh also talked about some of the like positive applications, like in drug discovery and materials and science. Are these realistic?
Yeah, I think so.
Or are we talking about something that's like way in the future?
Some of them are closer than you might think.
Really?
Yeah. So imagine being able to design new materials.
Okay.
But you can design them with atomic precision.
Wow.
So you could have lighter, stronger, more efficient materials.
Like for what?
For everything. Airplanes, solar panels.
Yeah.
All sorts of things.
That's amazing.
And then you think about simulating complex molecules to understand how diseases work and develop new therapies.
Right.
These are things that quantum computers could do within our lifetimes.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so.
So it feels like we're kind of on the verge of this technological leap.
Absolutely.
That could change everything.
Yeah.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves,
sure,
I think it's important to try to at least a little bit understand the science behind it.
Yeah, definitely.
Can we dive a little deeper into superposition and entanglement?
Let's do it.
Because I got to be honest.
Yeah.
My brain starts to melt a little bit when we start talking about that stuff.
I get it. It's complicated stuff. It really is mind-bending stuff.
It is. It's like peeking behind the curtain of reality.
Right.
Seeing how the universe operates at its most fundamental level.
Yeah.
So let's try to unpack these concepts a little more.
Okay.
You mentioned superposition, where a qubit can be in multiple states at once.
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
That's a great question. And it is one of the most counterintuitive ideas in all of quantum mechanics.
Right.
So think about this. Imagine spinning a coin on a table.
Okay.
Before it lands, it's in this blurry state.
Right.
It's both heads and tails simultaneously.
Yeah.
That's kind of what's happening with a qubit in superposition.
Okay.
It's not just that we don't know what the state is until we measure it.
Right.
It's that it truly exists in a combination of states.
So it's not a lack of information, it's a fundamental property of the quantum world.
It's a property of the qubit itself.
That's wild.
It is pretty wild.
And then there's entanglement, which we talked about a little earlier. It's like this spooky connection between particles across vast distances.
Even if they're separated by light years.
Light years.
Yeah.
How does that play into quantum computing?
So entanglement is really what gives quantum computers the ability to perform calculations.
Okay.
In a way that classical computers just can't.
Right.
So when two qubits are entangled, they become linked.
Okay.
Even if they're physically separated,
right.
What you do to one qubit instantly affects the other.
Wow.
It's like they're communicating faster than the speed of light.
Faster than the speed of light.
Yeah, which is, of course, impossible, according to Einstein.
Right.
But this interconnectedness is what gives quantum computers their power.
So they're like tapping into this hidden network.
That's a good way to think about it.
Beneath the surface of reality.
Yeah, kind of a deeper level of reality.
And we talked about some of the applications, but one of the most exciting ones is quantum simulation. So essentially using quantum computers to simulate
other quantum systems.
Quantum systems.
Exactly.
What kind of breakthroughs could that lead to?
So many. Like, we could simulate the behavior of molecules at the atomic level.
Right.
This would revolutionize fields like drug discovery and material science.
Okay, so like, give me an example.
Okay, so imagine being able to design new drugs.
Yeah.
But with pinpoint accuracy.
Okay.
You can target specific diseases.
Yeah.
Without any of the side effects of traditional pharmaceuticals.
Wow.
Or think about being able to create entirely new materials with properties that we haven't even dreamt of.
So like what?
Super efficient solar cells.
Yeah.
Or ultra strong building materials.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
It sounds like we're on the verge of a whole new era.
It feels that way.
Of scientific discovery and technological innovation.
Definitely.
Are there any areas where quantum computing might not live up to the hype?
That's a good question.
What are the limitations?
I mean, first of all, quantum computers are not a magical solution to every problem.
Right.
They're really still in their early stages of development.
Yeah.
One of the biggest challenges is building quantum computers that are large and stable enough to actually tackle these complex problems.
Okay.
And, you know, we talked about that sensitivity to the environment.
Yes.
Keeping those qubits in their delicate quantum states.
Yeah.
It's incredibly difficult.
It's got to be so hard.
It really is.
You know, I think you mentioned earlier that there are different types of quantum computers.
Yeah, there are a few different approaches.
Each with their own pros and cons.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you walk us through some of the main contenders?
Sure. So one of the most promising approaches uses something called superconducting qubits.
Superconducting qubits.
Yeah, and this is the technology that's being pursued by companies like IBM and Google.
Okay.
So these qubits are essentially these tiny circuits that are cooled to extremely low temperatures where they exhibit superconducting properties. And this allows them to act as qubits.
Okay.
But the challenge with this approach is maintaining those extremely low temperatures and protecting the qubits from any kind of interference.
So how do they do that?
Well, it's a really delicate balancing act of pushing the boundaries of physics and engineering to get it right.
What about trapped ion quantum computers?
Yeah, so trapped ion quantum computers, they use individual atoms that are trapped and manipulated using lasers.
Lasers, wow.
So the advantage here is that trapped ions are naturally very stable.
Okay.
They have what we call long coherence times, meaning they can stay in their quantum states for longer.
Okay.
But scaling up trapped ion systems to create large-scale quantum computers That's a big hurdle.
Right.
It's a really challenging engineering problem.
Yeah.
And then there's this really intriguing approach that Microsoft is betting on, which uses something called topological qubits.
Topological qubits.
Topological qubits are based on this very exotic and complex area of physics involving Majorana particles.
Majorana particles?
Yeah.
What are those?
So Majorana particles are these really weird particles that are their own antiparticles.
What does that mean?
It's a really mind-boggling concept.
Yeah.
I won't go into the details.
Okay.
But the basic idea is that if we can harness these Majorana particles, we can create these topological qubits that would be much more stable and resistant to errors than other types of qubits.
Wow.
And that would pave the way for much more powerful and reliable quantum computers.
So it's like a whole different level.
Yeah, it really is cutting-edge stuff.
It's fascinating to see all these different approaches.
It is, yeah.
Competing and collaborating.
Yeah, there's a lot of collaboration as well.
As researchers race towards this goal of quantum supremacy. But beyond the science and the technology, I think it's important to think about the broader implications.
Absolutely.
What kind of impact could quantum computing have on society, our economy, our understanding of the universe?
Well, those are the big questions, right? They're really big questions.
They are. I mean, it feels like we're on the cusp of something really transformative.
It does.
But as with any powerful technology, there can be some ethical and societal implications that we're going to have to
for sure.
deal with.
Absolutely.
What are some of the potential downsides that we should be thinking about?
Well, one of the things that people talk about a lot is this potential for job displacement.
Oh, yeah.
If quantum computers can automate tasks that currently require human intelligence, what happens to all those jobs?
Right. What happens to those people?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a valid concern, especially given, the advancements in AI happening.
Yeah, AI and quantum computing.
It does feel like we're entering this era.
It does.
Where those lines are blurring.
Really blurring.
Yeah.
Between human capability and machine capability.
Absolutely.
And then you add in those security implications we talked about.
Right.
I mean, the ability to just break any encryption.
It could have huge consequences.
It could.
For national security.
Yeah.
Financial systems.
Right.
Individual privacy.
Everything.
Pretty much, yeah.
So we need to be thinking now about how to mitigate those risks.
Absolutely. We got to be proactive.
And build a secure quantum future.
We do.
It's like we're playing a game of chess.
I like that analogy.
Trying to anticipate the moves.
Say one step ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found really interesting in some of those videos we watched
Yeah.
was this idea that quantum computing could actually change our understanding of time itself.
Time is a weird one.
Yeah.
I mean, our everyday experience tells us that time flows linearly.
Right. Past to present to future.
Exactly.
Get at the quantum level.
Things get a lot more complicated. So are you saying time might not be as...
I think what I'm saying is that our perception of time might not be the whole story.
So this might not be.
It might not be as absolute and straightforward as we think it is.
Some of the physicists we were reading about seem to think that time is this emergent property.
Emergent property.
It arises from the interactions of those quantum particles.
Right, rather than being this fundamental aspect of reality.
That's so hard to wrap your head around.
It is.
It's like saying that time is a river with all these hidden currents and eddies that we just can't perceive.
Yeah, we're only seeing the surface.
At the surface level.
Right.
Some of those videos even talked about time travel.
Oh, yeah.
At least like in the sense of sending information.
Backwards in time.
Yeah, back in time. Is there any scientific basis for that?
Well, it's highly speculative.
Okay.
But there are these theoretical frameworks within quantum mechanics that suggest it might be possible.
Really?
At least for information.
Okay.
One concept is called closed time-like curves.
Closed time-like curves.
Yeah, these are essentially loops in space-time.
Okay.
That could allow information to flow backwards in time.
Wow.
But of course, the idea of time travel raises all sorts of paradoxes.
Sure.
That physicists haven't been able to resolve.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we don't really have any definitive answers yet.
It's a topic that really stretches the limits of our imagination.
It really does.
And with quantum computing, it feels like we're bumping up against those limits constantly.
We are.
Expanding our understanding of what's possible.
Absolutely.
This has been a truly mind-expanding deep dive.
It has.
What are some key takeaways you hope people will walk away with?
Well, I think the biggest one is that we're on the verge of a technological revolution.
Yeah.
With quantum computing.
We really are.
It has the potential to solve some of humanity's greatest challenges. Developing life-saving medicines, creating new sources of energy.
Yeah, it could change everything.
But it's important to remember that it also comes with risks.
It does.
Ethical considerations.
Yeah.
We need to be proactive in addressing those.
Absolutely.
If we want to make sure that this technology benefits all of humanity.
It's not just about what we can do. It's about what we should do.
Exactly.
We have to be thoughtful and responsible.
Yeah.
About how we develop and deploy these technologies.
Couldn't agree more.
You know, if there's anyone out there who's feeling overwhelmed by all this quantum weirdness.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
I know I am sometimes.
It's important to remember that even the experts are still grappling with a lot of these concepts.
Yeah.
It's a journey of discovery, and we're all learning together.
Well, on that note of curiosity and wonder.
Yeah.
I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of quantum computing.
I think so.
It's been an incredible journey.
It really has.
And I'm sure we've only scratched the surface of what this fascinating field has to offer.
I think that's right.
So to all of our listeners out there, keep exploring.
Keep asking those questions.
Keep an eye on that quantum horizon.
The future's full of possibilities.
Yeah, it really is. And that's it for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.